We'd been best friends for 15 years, ever since we were 9 years old, and I thought I knew everything about Ryan, every secret, every dream, every fear he'd ever had. We'd been through middle school crushes, high school heartbreaks, college adventures, and now we were both 24, starting our careers and planning our futures. But what Ryan confessed to me during what I thought was just another ordinary night hanging out at our favorite spot completely shattered my understanding of our entire friendship and made me realize that for 15 years, I'd been blind to something that was right in front of me the whole time. Hit that subscribe button because this confession didn't just change our friendship, it changed my entire life in ways I never could have imagined. My name is Emma, I'm 24, and Ryan Mitchell has been my best friend since we were 9 years old. We met in 4th grade when my family moved to Portland and I was the new kid who didn't know anyone. Ryan was the first person to talk to me during lunch, offering to share his sandwich when he saw me sitting alone. "You look sad," he said with this genuine concern that melted my heart instantly. "Want to sit with me and my friends?" From that day forward, we were inseparable. Ryan and I became the kind of best friends that people write movies about. We had sleepovers every weekend, built blanket forts in his living room, rode our bikes to the creek behind his house, and created our own secret language that drove our parents crazy. As we grew up, our friendship only got stronger. Ryan was there for me through my awkward middle school phase, my first heartbreak in high school, and my anxiety about college applications. I was there for him when his parents got divorced, when he struggled with math class, and when he got rejected from his dream school. We went to different colleges but stayed incredibly close, texting every day and visiting each other constantly. Ryan studied engineering at Oregon State while I went to University of Washington for journalism. Despite being 3 hours apart, we probably talked more than most couples do. Everyone always assumed Ryan and I would end up together romantically. Our parents joked about it, our friends teased us about it, and strangers we met would always ask if we were dating. But honestly, the idea never seriously crossed my mind. Ryan was like a brother to me, my person, my safe place, my best friend in the world, but never someone I thought of romantically. Ryan had girlfriends throughout high school and college, and I had boyfriends too. We'd give each other advice about relationships, vent about breakups, and celebrate each other's happy moments. He was always supportive of whoever I was dating, and I tried to be the same for him, though I'll admit I was probably a bit more critical of his girlfriends than I should have been. After college, we both ended up back in Portland, and it felt like old times. We'd meet up for dinner at least twice a week, go hiking on weekends, and text constantly throughout our workdays. Ryan got a job at a tech startup, and I started working at a local newspaper. About 6 months ago, I started dating someone seriously, a guy named Marcus who I met through work. Marcus was great, and I was really excited about where our relationship was heading. But I noticed that Ryan seemed different whenever I talked about Marcus. He'd get quiet, change the subject, or make excuses to end our conversations early. "Are you okay?" I asked him one night when he seemed particularly distant during dinner. "You've been acting weird lately." "Just work stress," Ryan said, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Nothing to worry about." I believed him then, but looking back now, I realize that was the beginning of Ryan struggling with something much bigger than work stress. What was really bothering Ryan, and why did my relationship with Marcus seem to affect him so deeply? The changes in Ryan's behavior became more obvious as my relationship with Marcus progressed. When Marcus and I became official after 2 months of dating, Ryan's congratulations felt forced and hollow. When I started spending weekends with Marcus instead of our usual hiking trips, Ryan would make sarcastic comments about me abandoning our friendship. "I barely see you anymore," Ryan said one evening when I had to cancel our dinner plans because Marcus surprised me with concert tickets. "That's not true, We literally had lunch yesterday." "Yeah, for 30 minutes between your work meetings." "It's not the same, Em." I felt guilty, but also confused. Ryan had had serious girlfriends before, and I'd never felt like he was prioritizing them over our friendship. Why was this different? Things got more complicated when I decided to introduce Marcus to Ryan properly. They'd met briefly a few times, but I wanted them to really get to know each other since they were both such important parts of my life. "Why don't you come to game night at my place on Friday?" I suggested to Ryan. "Marcus will be there, and so will Sarah and Jake. It'll be fun." Ryan's expression tightened. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Why not?" "You love game night. And Marcus is really excited to hang out with you properly." "Emma, I need some space right now." "Space?" In 15 years of friendship, Ryan had never asked me for space. We'd been through everything together: family drama, relationship issues, career stress, and we'd always leaned on each other. This felt completely out of character. Space from what? From me? No, not from you. Just from the situation. What situation? Ryan, you're not making any sense. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I recognized as his tell when he was anxious or frustrated. Forget I said anything. Have fun at game night. That night, Marcus and I were cuddled on my couch watching a movie when he brought up Ryan's behavior. "Is your friend okay with us dating?" Marcus asked during a quiet moment. "What do you mean?" "I don't know. He just seems uncomfortable around me. Like he doesn't approve or something." I thought about it and realized Marcus wasn't wrong. Ryan was always polite to Marcus, but there was definitely tension there that I couldn't explain. "Ryan's just protective," I said, though even as I said it, I wasn't sure that was the whole truth. "He's been my best friend for 15 years. He probably just needs time to adjust to me having a serious boyfriend." But as weeks passed, Ryan's attitude didn't improve. If anything, it got worse. He started declining invitations to group hangouts if he knew Marcus would be there. Our conversations became shorter and more surface level. And most concerning of all, Ryan stopped dating entirely. "What happened to that girl from your yoga class?" I asked him one afternoon. "Jenna? I thought you really liked her." "It didn't work out." "What about the woman Sarah wanted to set you up with?" "Not interested." "Ryan, you haven't been on a date in 3 months. That's not like you." Maybe I'm just focusing on other things right now. But what Ryan was really focusing on would soon become impossible for him to hide any longer. The breaking point came during my birthday celebration. I had planned a small party at my apartment with my closest friends, including Ryan and Marcus. I was so excited to have all my favorite people in one place, celebrating together. Ryan arrived early to help me set up, just like he had for every birthday since we were kids. We were hanging streamers in my living room when he suddenly stopped working and just stared at me. Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What's up? Are you happy? Like, really happy with Marcus?" The question caught me off guard. "Yes, I think so." "Why?" Ryan was quiet for a long moment. "Do you love him?" "Ryan, that's kind of a personal question, don't you think? We've always talked about everything. Since when are your feelings too personal to share with me?" He had a point. We discussed every crush, every relationship, every heartbreak for 15 years. But something about the way he asked made me uncomfortable. "I care about Marcus a lot," I said carefully. "We're still figuring things out." Ryan nodded, but I could tell he wasn't satisfied with my answer. The party started well enough. My friends were having fun, the food was great, and everyone seemed to be getting along. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Ryan was watching me and Marcus all night, analyzing every interaction between us. When Marcus put his arm around me during a group photo, I saw Ryan look away. When Marcus brought me a drink without being asked, Ryan's jaw tightened. And when Marcus whispered something funny in my ear that made me laugh, Ryan abruptly announced he was leaving. Already? I followed him to the door. We haven't even done cake yet. I'm not feeling great. I think I'm coming down with something. Ryan, what's going on? You've been acting so strange lately, and I'm worried about you. I'm fine, Em. Happy birthday. He hugged me, but it lasted longer than usual, and when he pulled away, there was something in his eyes that I'd never seen before: pain, longing, and something that looked almost like desperation. After Ryan left, the party continued, but I couldn't stop thinking about his behavior. Marcus noticed too. Is everything okay with Ryan? He asked as we cleaned up later that night. I honestly don't know. He's been off for months now. Emma, can I say something without you getting upset? Sure. I think Ryan might have feelings for you. I immediately shook my head. No, that's impossible. We've been best friends for 15 years. If Ryan had feelings for me, I would know. But even as I said it, I found myself thinking about all the signs I might have missed: the way Ryan had been acting since I started dating Marcus, his sudden disinterest in dating other people, the intensity in his eyes when he hugged me goodbye. Could Marcus be right? And if he was, what did that mean for everything I thought I knew about my best friend? The week after my birthday party, Ryan and I barely spoke. He was responding to my texts with one-word answers, declining my invitations to hang out, and generally acting like he was avoiding me. This was the longest we'd gone without really talking in 15 years of friendship. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I showed up at his apartment on a Tuesday night with his favorite pizza and a determination to figure out what was wrong. We need to talk, I said when he opened the door, looking surprised to see me. Emma, now's not really a good time. When is a good time, Ryan? Because you've been avoiding me for a week, and I have no idea what I did wrong. Ryan stepped aside to let me in, and I noticed how tired he looked, like he hadn't been sleeping well. You didn't do anything wrong, he said quietly as we sat on his couch. Then what's going on? And don't say it's work stress, because I know you better than that. Ryan was quiet for so long that I wondered if he was going to answer at all. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. Marcus was right. Right about what? About me having feelings for you. The words hit me like a physical blow. Ryan. I know, he said quickly. I know it's crazy and impossible and probably ruins everything between us. But I can't keep pretending anymore. How long, was all I could manage to ask. Honestly? Probably since we were teenagers, but I never let myself acknowledge it. I convinced myself that what I felt was just really deep friendship, that the reason I never felt the same way about my girlfriends was because they weren't you. I stared at him, trying to process what he was saying. 15 years of friendship, and he'd been hiding this the entire time? When you started dating Marcus seriously, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Seeing you with him, watching you light up when you talked about him, realizing that you might actually fall in love with someone who wasn't me, it destroyed me, Em. Why didn't you ever say anything? Because I was terrified of losing you. Our friendship is the most important thing in my life. I'd rather have you as my best friend than risk losing you completely by confessing feelings you don't return. And now? Ryan looked at me with those eyes I'd known for 15 years, but now I could see everything he'd been hiding. Now I can't breathe when I see you with him. I can't pretend to be happy for you when it's killing me inside. And I can't keep being your best friend while feeling like this. But what Ryan said next would force me to make an impossible choice between the friendship that had defined my life and a love I'd never even considered. Emma, I need you to know that I'm not telling you this to break up your relationship or to put pressure on you to choose me, Ryan continued, his voice shaking slightly. I'm telling you because I can't keep lying to you, and I can't keep lying to myself. I felt like the room was spinning. Everything I thought I knew about our friendship was reshaping itself in my mind. All those moments over the years that I'd interpreted as deep friendship, were they something more? The way Ryan had always been protective of me, the way he'd never quite approved of any of my boyfriends, the way he'd always been there for me no matter what. I need some air, I said, standing up abruptly. Please don't leave like this. I'm not leaving. I need a minute to think. I stepped out onto Ryan's balcony, looking out at the city lights below. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. How did the conversation with Ryan go? Hope everything's okay. Seeing Marcus's name on my screen made everything even more complicated. Marcus was a good guy who cared about me, who made me laugh, who I could see a future with. But Ryan was 15 years of shared history, inside jokes, unconditional support, and a connection so deep I'd never questioned it. When I came back inside, Ryan was sitting on the couch with his head in his hands. Ryan, look at me. He lifted his head, and I could see tears in his eyes. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Okay. If I wasn't with Marcus, if I was single right now, what would you want to happen between us? I'd want to find out if what I feel for you could be something you might feel for me too. I'd want to take you on a real date, hold your hand, kiss you goodnight. I'd want to see if we could be as good together romantically as we've always been as friends. And if it didn't work out? If we tried and it wasn't what we expected? Then we'd figure it out. But what if it was everything we never knew we were looking for? I sat down next to him, closer than I normally would have, and really looked at him. This was Ryan, my best friend, my constant, the person who knew me better than anyone. But suddenly I was seeing him differently, noticing the way his eyes crinkled when he was nervous, the way his hair fell across his forehead, the way he was looking at me like I was the most important thing in his world. I need time, I said finally. This changes everything, and I need time to figure out what it means. But the choice I was about to make would change not just our friendship, but both of our lives forever. I spent the next week in complete emotional chaos. I couldn't stop thinking about Ryan's confession, analyzing every moment of our 15-year friendship through this new lens. Had I been blind to his feelings, or had I unconsciously known but chosen to ignore them? Marcus noticed the change in me immediately. You've been distracted all week, he said during dinner on Friday night. Everything okay? I looked at Marcus across the table, this kind, patient man who had done nothing wrong except fall for someone whose heart was apparently more complicated than she'd realized. Marcus, I need to be honest with you about something. I told him about Ryan's confession, about the confusion I'd been feeling, about needing to figure out what 15 years of friendship actually meant. Marcus was quiet for a long time after I finished talking. Are you in love with him? He finally asked. I don't know. I thought I knew the difference between friendship and romantic love, but now I'm not sure I ever understood what I felt for Ryan. And what about us? You deserve someone who's completely sure about their feelings. And right now, I'm not that person. Marcus nodded sadly but with understanding. I appreciate you being honest. It hurts, but I'd rather know the truth. 2 days later, I called Ryan. Can you meet me at our spot? I asked, referring to the creek behind his childhood home where we'd spent countless hours talking about everything and nothing. When I arrived, Ryan was already there, sitting on the fallen log we'd claimed as ours when we were kids. I ended things with Marcus, I said as I sat down next to him. Ryan's eyes widened. I never wanted. I didn't end it because you asked me to. I ended it because I realized I couldn't be fair to him while feeling confused about you. And now? Now I want to know what we could be together. I want to find out if what I've always felt for you could become something more. Ryan turned to face me completely. Are you sure? Because once we cross this line, there's no going back to just being best friends. Maybe we were never just best friends, I said, finally acknowledging what might have been true all along. When Ryan kissed me for the first time, everything clicked into place. This wasn't the beginning of something new, it was the continuation of something that had been building for 15 years. 6 months later, we're still figuring out how to be best friends and lovers at the same time, but every day I'm more convinced that some people are meant to be both. Sometimes the greatest love story is the one that was always right in front of you, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Looking back now, I realize that Ryan's confession didn't change everything, it revealed what had always been true. We'd been in love with each other for years without realizing it, mistaking the depth of our connection for exceptional friendship. Ryan taught me that sometimes the most profound love grows slowly, quietly, in the space between friendship and romance, waiting for the right moment to be acknowledged. Our story wasn't about choosing between friendship and love, it was about discovering that the best relationships contain both. Now I understand why no other relationship ever felt quite right, why Ryan was always my first call when something good or bad happened, and why the idea of losing him terrified me more than anything else in the world. The best part? We still laugh about the same stupid jokes we did when we were 9 years old. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have you ever realized your best friend might be something more? Share your stories below. Love comes in the most unexpected ways.